Court, all rise.
No.
This court is now in session. You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Calling our first matter on today's list, it is the Commonwealth versus Judy Church, 2023 CR 14. This matter is scheduled today for sentencing hearing. Ms. Church is present, accompanied by her attorneys. Would all counsel please identify yourselves for the record, starting with the Commonwealth?
Good morning, Your Honor. A.J. Camilio for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Mr. Camilio.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jessica Strasnick for the Commonwealth.
Good morning, Ms. Strasnick.
Morning, Your Honor. Stanley Narkunis with Ms. Morrissey on behalf of, and Attorney Scully on behalf of Ms. Church.
Good morning, Mr. Narkunis. Ms. Morrissey.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Scully. Good morning to Ms. Church. On Monday, March 30th, which was the 10th day of trial, the jury returned a verdict of guilty of first-degree murder on theories of deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity or cruelty. That offense carries a mandatory sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Nevertheless, I will hear from both counsel. I will hear any impact statements that Mr. Fowler's family members wish to make, and I will hear from Ms. Church if she wishes to say anything. We will start with the Commonwealth. Mr. Camilio.
Your Honor, Tammy Carbone would like to make the first impact statement. She's going to bring up Candace Eaton with her just for a little help.
She may. She may come up. Ms. Carbone may come up with Ms. Eaton, and they may both take seats to my right. Ms. Carbone, I want very much to hear what you have to tell me. I just want to remind you of what I'm sure Mr. Camilio and Ms. Strasnick have told you, which is this is your opportunity to address me about the impact that your brother's death has had upon you and your family. I want you to direct your remarks to me. I am your audience, not Ms. Church. Mm-hmm. And with that, would you just state your name, and then I'd like to hear anything you'd like to tell me.
Tammy Carbone.
Go ahead, Ms. Carbone.
We are addressing the court to share how the crime committed by Judy Church has impacted our family's life. I appreciate the opportunity to provide this statement as part of your consideration during the sentencing. Since the murder of our loved one, Leroy Fowler Jr., our lives have been permanently affected. The way we have been affected.
Our lives have been profoundly affected. The ways we have all been affected have been immense. Sleepless nights, grief beyond explanation, anger, sadness, confusion, the list goes on. We all have navigated our grief in our own ways, not knowing how we will feel one day to the next. Beyond the roller coaster of emotion, we all have our children that we've had to explain this situation to, and we have had to try to help them through this as well, which has been something indescribable, and have to not only try to explain to a child, but to help them get through their grief when we as adults have trouble handling our own pain we are experiencing. Losing a loved one is painful no matter what, but when it happens at the hands of someone else, it brings a pain like you've never felt before. Leroy is deeply missed by our family beyond anything we could ever say in words. Leroy was a father, a son, a brother, a grandfather, an uncle, a cousin, and a friend to many. Throughout the course of this trial, a picture was painted by the defense of Leroy that didn't capture who he truly was. Leroy was a happy-go-lucky man that truly loved life, his dogs, and going on adventures. Whether it was going on camping trips with his family, catching frogs with his nieces and nephews, laughing by the fire, or feeling the freedom and love of riding his motorcycle. As a kid, he was a great baseball player, which was where he fell in love with the game, and later taught his son and nephews how to play. The whole family would love to get together and play baseball in the summertime. Leroy would also play street hockey with the boys and enjoy fishing. Another one of his enjoyments was tinkering with bikes. He also loved jumping in the car on a weekend with his sisters and spending a whole day yard sailing to see what treasures they could all find. Leroy was a hard-working man, a man that would do anything to help anyone. If you needed him, he would be there, no questions asked. One thing Leroy took pride in was the title he earned later in life, a grandfather. He loved spending time with his grandson, but due to his life being taken too soon, he never got to meet his most recent grandson. We, the family, recommend the court impose the maximum sentence allowed by law, life without parole, due to the extreme cruelty and atrocious nature of this murder. Thank you for taking the time to consider our statement and allowing our voices to be heard in this process and to share the impact of this terrible loss our family has endured.
Ms. Eaton, would you tell me your full name, please?
Candace Eaton.
And what is your relationship to Ms. Carbone and or Mr. Fowler?
I'm her daughter-in-law.
You're Ms. Carbone's daughter-in-law.
Yep.
Thank you very much for assisting Ms. Carbone. Ms. Carbone, I thank you very much for your statement. I very much wanted to hear what you have to say. I can see the anguish that you're still experiencing now. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank
but
you
thank
so
you
much.
for sharing those remarks with me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Camilio.
Your Honor, Barbara Randall also wrote something that she would like the court to hear, but asked if I would read it. So with the court's permission, I'll do that now.
Is Ms. Randall in attendance?
She is, Your Honor.
Ms. Randall? Yes. Thank you for being here. Go ahead, Mr. Camilio.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Barbara Randall, and I am here to speak about the loss of Leroy Fowler, a man who was deeply loved and whose absence has left a space in our hearts that can never be filled. Leroy was more than what you've heard in this courtroom. He was a partner, father, grandfather, brother, and someone who would give the shirt off his back to anyone in need. If a friend called, Leroy showed up, no questions asked. He could build just about anything with his hands, and he took pride in fixing things, making something broken whole again. He loved riding his motorcycle, feeling that freedom, and living life in his own way. What we had together may not have been a conventional love story, but it was ours. Through every up and down, every challenge, we still chose each other, and we were happy. Leroy loved the simple things, like our weekend yard sailing trips. Those were our moments, walking side by side, looking for treasures we didn't need but somehow couldn't pass up. Leroy always thought he was finding something valuable, even if the rest of us knew it probably wasn't. But that was Leroy. He could see worth where others didn't, and he brought the same outlook to the people in his life. When Judy Church took Leroy's life, she didn't just take him from me. She took him away from his children and grandchildren and my grandchildren who looked at him as their own. She took away the love, the time, and the memories they should have had with him. The fun times, the impulsive trips, the laughter we all shared together. And she didn't just take his life, she made him suffer. Leroy's final days were filled with confusion, pain, and fear. He was left struggling, not understanding what was happening to his own body, fighting for his life as it was slowly being taken from him. No one deserves to suffer like that. No one deserves to have their life ended in fear and pain at the hands of someone he thought he could trust. That is something we will never forget. She also took away our future. Leroy and I were still writing our story, and we will never know how it would have unfolded because that choice was stolen from us. Today, we ask the court to consider not only the loss of Leroy's life, but the suffering he endured and the pain that has been left behind for all of us. We ask for the maximum sentence. Because while Judy Church will continue to live, even if it is behind the walls of a jail cell, we will never get Leroy back. She will wake up with each day with her life ahead of her in some form. We do not have that, and Leroy does not have that. She will never truly understand the pain she put him through or the depths of the loss that she has caused. Leroy was loved, he mattered, and he deserves so much more than what was done to him. Nothing will ever replace him, but we ask that justice reflect the seriousness of what was taken, not just his life, but his future and ours. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Randall, for those remarks. I appreciate them. Mr. Camilio.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth moves for sentencing and would ask that the court impose a sentence of life without parole in the state prison. Even if this sentence were not required by law, it would be the appropriate sentence in this case. As you just heard, Ms. Randall's statement, Leroy Fowler died a slow, painful, and what must have been a really terrifying death at the hands of the defendant, Judy Church. No sentence can return Mr. Fowler to his family or make up for any loss that they are now suffering, but a sentence of life without parole is the only fair and just punishment under these circumstances, and I would ask the court to impose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Narkunis or Mr. Scully, who is speaking on behalf of the defense? Mr. Scully.
Briefly, Your Honor, thank you for the opportunity. As you know, the defense filed a sentencing memorandum, which we feel is an important part of the record, but we would waive oral argument on that memorandum at this time.
And I've read the memorandum. I received it just minutes ago, and I delayed coming out just so I'd have a full opportunity to review it, which I've done. Anything else, Mr. Scully?
No, we filed a notice, and we filed a motion, Judge, which we would ask the court to allow.
And have you spoken with Ms. Church as to whether she wishes to say anything?
I have spoken with her. I have advised her, given that we will be appealing everything here, not to say anything at this time. There will be ongoing litigation.
That's fine. All right. Thank you. As I've stated, I have no discretion regarding the sentence to be imposed on the verdict of first-degree murder by deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity or cruelty. I am required to sentence Ms. Church to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, but that is the exact sentence I would impose if I did have discretion. The jury verdict reflects the jury's finding that the Commonwealth had proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Ms. Church deliberately poisoned Leroy Fowler with ethylene glycol, presumably by putting an antifreeze-like substance in his Powerade drink. She then deliberately delayed calling 911 to get him the immediate medical assistance he so desperately needed, while she, in my view, callously and heartlessly videotaped Mr. Fowler's suffering. By doing so, she took the life of Mr. Fowler just days after his birthday and presumably well before he would have died of natural causes, taking him away from his family, his friends, his loved ones, his grandchildren, his children. Both Ms. Carbone and Ms. Randall have spoken eloquently about the impact of his loss on that extended group of people who loved him. By Ms. Church's actions, basically a heinous act of murder, one which saw Mr. Fowler linger for 2 days in increasingly dire medical distress to the point where he was finally declared brain dead and his family had to make that wrenching decision to terminate his intubation and let him pass. Ms. Church is fully deserving of the most serious sentence that can be imposed under the laws of our Commonwealth, and I therefore impose that sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. I will waive all fees with the exception of the victim witness fee. Ms. Tordo. Is there an agreement on the, never mind. Go ahead, Ms. Tordo. Thank you.
I believe the date of arrest was December 22nd, 2022.
All right.
I think so. Yes.
Ms. Church, please stand. Judy Church, on indictment 2023 CR 14001, on which the jury found you guilty of first-degree murder with both deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity or cruelty, you will hearken to the sentence that the court has awarded against you. Having duly considered your offense, the court orders that you be punished by confinement for the term of your natural life without the possibility for parole, and that the sentence will be executed upon you in and within the precincts of the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Framingham. The minimus shall reflect credit in the amount of 1,197 days, reflecting the time that you've been held on this case since December 22nd of 2022. You stand committed in execution of this sentence, ma'am. The statutory victim witness fee of $90 will be imposed. The other fees that would be applicable include a $110 DNA fee and a $150 legal counsel fee, if applicable. Those will be waived by the court. I must advise you, ma'am, that you have the right to appeal from the trial of this case to the appeals court. And if you choose to do so, you must do so within 30 days and in writing. You're all set, ma'am.
We will be in recess. Thank you all.
Court, all rise. Court stands in recess.